Okay, so this video is going to be a comparison between the TXC holsters X1 Ally and the Tier 1 concealed Axis Slim. I notice here on the Axis I have the little wedge pack here. This is two small wedges which came from two different wedge packs, but I find that having the wider surface area here helps not to focus all of the pressure onto one single point, kind of spreading it out helps a little bit. Also, if you are feeling like that you're having a lot of pinpoint pressure on either one of these, the TXC also has this little hump here that kind of acts to cant the holster back into your body. If you feel like that you're getting pinpoint pressure on either of these and it's kind of hurting, then you might have your belt a little bit too tight. So kind of loosening your belt just a little bit might help there. Both of these holsters were configured for the CZ P10C with an optic, with suppressor height sights, threaded barrel, and the Enforce APLc. So as I mentioned, the TXC has this bump which helps with concealability. It also, on the holster, has this other bump here, which in theory is supposed to push against the belt and kind of contour towards your body a little bit more. I didn't really notice that that was a thing that was happening very much for me. Maybe it is. It's not hurting anything, but I can't necessarily say that that was a critical feature. One thing that I did notice that is a big difference between the two holsters is the bottom opening. Both of these I did specify with a threaded barrel, and here on the TXC it's open on the bottom, not only for the threaded barrel to stick out there, but also there's a little bit of the muzzle of the gun that also sticks out. And for sure I have noticed that reholstering I can definitely feel the heat from the threaded barrel, to the point that I definitely don't want to reholster this with a hot gun. On the Tier 1, they have this really nice shrouding of the barrel, which makes it to where you can reholster the hot gun. So that's nice. The downside between the two is if you're running a comp here, you can't holster the comp on the Tier 1 holster. You could on the TXC, but you just wouldn't want to reholster that for a little bit until the gun cooled off. So kind of depends on if you're just looking to get out of the holster but not necessarily back in it, or if you're running it in a class or something and you would definitely need to be reholstering. One thing that was kind of a problem for me on the TXC, some people have commented about that this area here where the magazine carrier and the holster meet, this is typically just looks like a laser cut in between here, and these fit together like a puzzle piece, and that you can get some kind of noise between those two pieces moving around, kind of like a little kydex popping kind of noise, while you're moving around, which for me was, I did get that, and it was not really a bad thing necessarily, but one thing that was a really big deal breaker was that the magazine carrier would catch on the front of the holster, and so it would, as your body is moving around, maybe as you're bending over, this would catch here, and then it would just kind of get stuck, and I would notice that this magazine carrier was just really sticking out, and really sticking the magazine out and printing really bad. And I kind of was noticing what's going on there, and it was that it was getting stuck on there. So to fix that, I took these apart, which you'll also notice that I have the upgrade option from TXC to have this kind of rubber attachment here as opposed to the bungee cord, which I do like that. It makes it a little bit tighter, but still has a lot of the freedom of movement that you get with the TXC holster. But to fix that kind of catching here, I just separated these and took my Dremel and kind of exaggerated the gap between here, just grinding off material on both sides. And so now there is, instead of fitting together like a puzzle piece, it kind of has a larger gap in between those two pieces, which it still can hit against it, but it's less likely to do that and just kind of has more freedom of movement. And this definitely did fix the issue with it catching on itself. The other problem that I had with this holster was on the magazine carrier, the attachment here is on the side where you can adjust the tension, but the opposite side is open, and I added this piece here, but otherwise these two pieces don't connect together until down here at this first screw. And so what happens there is, as you have a magazine in this, it can pull these two pieces apart, which maybe is the intent to kind of allow for easy access to get the magazine in and out. But what I was finding is that the magazine could get pushed forward in here. It could get pulled forward, and then you couldn't, it would kind of exaggerate the angle of the magazine, in addition to getting caught here. And this magazine is just really kind of canted out here, which was a problem.